the question we were given at the hackathon, which was kindly hosted by Alvin and collaborators in summer, was what parts of a politician's kind of day-to-day role, like an elected representative rather than a campaigning to win politician, can be automated using some of the latest AI technologies. And so we kind of got together as a team over the weekend. My name's Rob. I work for a company called Cognition X. We do AI market research and kind of consultancy. And we try and bring clarity to businesses looking to deploy AI. Do you want to say a word about yourself, Jeff?
Absolutely, absolutely. I shall indeed. My name is James, as you highlighted. Thank you. I work in a company called From Counsel, which is part of a group of law tech businesses looking at ways to research legal information and publish legal information in new ways using new technologies.
I see we've lost the full screen capability.
We are using that screen, but our hands are over here.
I trust you. You know everything. And then also, like, just to show Ed's like prolific, like fingers in many pies. Ed was also like part of the team for like a large chunk of the week. So, just thinking about the question, a lot of other teams kind of explored ideas of like politicians' emails. Like, can we filter politicians' emails effectively? Which is like an interesting thing. Like, is that a huge pain point? We wondered, and then also like thinking about how politicians can really understand their electorate and like vote on behalf of them, like with some liquid democracy. So there were some ideas like that floating around. And I think the idea we settled on was, okay, there's a pain point whereby a lot of casework comes to MPs' offices, and we road tested this with people who worked in constituency offices and stuff like that. Is already like very messy, stuff that shouldn't really be on their desk already, but it's kind of gone through the system in the worst possible way and come out as a very complicated piece of spaghetti on their desk. And we were like, well, let's work backwards. Let's see if we can go right back to when that person could have the most effective intervention to try and help them. And so, just two things you need to know about AI. It's like, it's really great for scale and velocity. So things that you have to do again and again, which are relatively simple, or things that happen so quickly that you can't keep up with it. And both of those things are great when you're talking about the citizens' interactions with the state. Just thought I'd throw that in there.
Good. What slide are we on? Can we move the next slide? So, we had to think through the various different options on the table and what could be a good set of ideas. In my particular case, what really interests me was a lot of the insights I'd had through various opportunities, political campaigning in the last election, various other ones, and how that highlighted a lot of many other conversations with people, both as government officials or elected representatives or aspiring representatives or just citizens trying to access services, was just the extent to which citizens don't necessarily know who to ask about problems they have. Representative institutions are often overwhelmed with just completely incorrect and misdirected queries, people going to them for the wrong thing, people being wildly over-emotive when they get there, clogging up the system. We all know ideas are just how overwhelmed MP surgeries can often be. And just trying to think of ways in which we, and the third point, combined as well with those institutions being hit often by funding and resource constraints. So what were ways that we could try and help all of these problems at once? Help the citizen get what they need when they interface with the actual resources of the state, be that local government, be that their MP, be that, say, the NHS. How do we help officials get inquiries made to them in a sort of cleaned up, rationalized and useful way? And how also do we manage this in the context of ever declining public resources and just general variety of pressures? So as it was a political AI conference, we thought we'd better use some AI, which was pretty important. Why is AI useful? Well, as is just highlighting, AI is useful where you have vast amounts of information and a great need for volume and lots of people doing lots of things at speed. We therefore created the notion of Civic Triage, which is a chatbot which people can interface using a variety of different channels, as you can see, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. A chatbot which would enable people to put in a few simple queries into the chatbot and would then route their information off to the various different relevant agencies, clear it up along the way, and then send it to those agencies, thus both helping the citizen and helping the agencies actually have information channeled to them in a relevant and correct way. Now, what would this be doing? It would be learning from users. I'll show you a slide in a moment visualizing a little bit of the setup. But with each query, because there's an AI system, it gets better and better at routing the information through to, for instance, the local MP or through to the local council. And this could be questions ranging from anything, great problems that they have accessing, I don't know, healthcare, through to the particular repetitive example that we used again and again, was just quite minor social issues such as dog fouling in parks. So really everything from major to quite minor issues. It would collect information, both for the purposes of training the algorithms to get better, but also to aid the databases and the reporting functions of those government institutions. And it would also help governments and institutions work out the sentiment and the feelings that people actually have by doing a little bit of sentiment analysis as it's going through. So the aim overall would be to use the metadata to actually humanize the institutions of the state, which are too often kind of seen as, floating out there and very difficult to get hold of. And ultimately, in the third stage of our product, increase accountability. Because at the end of all of this stage, all of this data flowing in, we then have dashboards enabling both citizens and the institutions to see, how quickly was a matter responded to? How repetitively are these issues coming up? Are there particular geographies of particular leaders that are failing in certain ways or doing well in other ways? So it all ultimately tending towards the goals of accountability. Can we go on to the next slide? So you can see, or you can squint, a little bit of what we mean here. So if I stand up. So here you see you have the idea of the multiple different channels that an ordinary citizen would have to interact with. So those first four, that's the CAB, council, government, or an MP. They'll just throw them questions, but often they won't know who to throw the questions at. So instead what we'll have is the chatbot operating across social media platforms and connected as well to the websites of these institutions. Citizen opens up the chatbot, starts chatting. The chatbot will provide easy reference info, because obviously there'll be a lot of inquiries that are quite easy to just give a bit of information. And then where there is something more important, it will help raise a ticket through to the relevant institution, help structure that inquiry by adding various forms of metadata on it and just pushing it through the right way. Then it will send a report to that institution, which help the institution constantly gather information on the concerns of the citizenry, thus aiding that feedback loop we're talking about a great deal. Yeah. And then ultimately, one of two things will either happen. If it is dealt with initially in the right way, we'll go into the case management system over there and for all the different institutions, help them keep on improving their data. You'll then get the dashboard at the end, or if the institution is unable to deal with it properly, based by the simple provision of information, we then have scope for it to be escalated. But all the way through, we actually had an even bigger slide showing the ultimate feedback loop, but we couldn't fit it in on this slide. All the way through, this information is being fed back into the quality of the chatbot, and various different silos of information and data are being spread off that. Should we go to the next one?
Should we just sprint to the end, yeah? So just to sprint to the end of 3 bullet points. First of all, like what you've kind of heard us describe is basically the frontline service of citizens' advice, but like automated. And so we kind of came to this conclusion only a few hours in. And so we talked to them, right? And we knew various people that work there. And this is actually like a key part of their digital transformation strategy going forward, which is really exciting. So first of all, genuine people with massive budgets are already working on this stuff. And as part of our, the slides are just different now. As part of our hackathon, we talked about kind of commercializing this and what you would do in order to make like a freestanding company that was self-sustaining. And we were talking about how you could have like a single customer to start with as a kind of proof of concept and build up your credibility, and then potentially even like white label it out to different NGOs and government departments and start to thread together the different kind of inbound citizen queries, and even to learn from each other and to channel queries from one together, which is like really exciting. So someone approaches the cabinet office, sure, they would, with something as for a local authority or for an NGO or a charity, and you could kind of shuffle them around, which would be quite fun. And then just the kind of final point is like, what are we doing with this? What's next? Personally, not a huge amount. I think what we're here today is just to show you that this is the kind of thing you can do, and that I think there would be real value in doing, and it's up to everyone in this room to make it happen.